What is going on, everybody? Out here in the shop tonight. It's been a while since I put up a video. Been busy at work and whatnot, but we're out here jacking around tonight. And the engine in the S10 had an issue. I kind of figured it would. When we were first putting it together, the crank was just a piece of shit. And so had it polished, but basically the crank still had about that finish on it right there. It was still pretty freaking rough. It was just a piece of shit crank from the beginning. It needed to be turned, and I had mentioned it when I was putting the engine together, and we had nobody down here to turn it because our crank guy had already retired. So I took it out, had it polished. It was still so rough. I mean, that's what it sounded like when you'd run your fingernail across the crank. But that's what it ended up doing. It ended up eating the main bearings up, and just the material it took off there, it ran back through the oil pump, and it took out two rod bearings, number 7 and 8. But I mean, if you look at all the mains, I mean, that's basically what the crank looked like when I installed it. It had all those grooves in it like that. Now the crank's in Denver getting turned. It looked exact same when I pulled it out as when I put it in. It didn't tear the crank up anymore, but it just put the grooves that were in the crank, it put them grooves in the bearings, in every single main bearing. See, that's what the crank looked like when I put it together. Had all them nasty grooves in it. It was just junk, but it's a nice crank once it gets fixed. So it's up in Denver getting turned. Anyways, I have a nice one-piece crank right there that is just beautiful. You can't hear there's nothing. And I have that either for a 454 block in the basement or for what that crank came out of, which is right here, which is a 502. And the problem with this 502, I got this from a good friend of mine. The block is broke all over. So I took and I V'd out all of the brakes. I drilled holes at the end of all the cracks. Every crack I could find, I drilled holes at the end of it. And I V'd out the top. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to TIG weld this block up. I'm going to TIG weld the entire block back together. And then I am going to see if it'll work. See if it'll hold together. I'll TIG weld the whole block together. I need to pull this one in because that's really popped out. Look at that gap down in there. But I'll pull that one together. As you can see, it moves. That's how loose it is. Pull that one together. I'll pull them all together when I weld them. I'll take it out after that and have the block decked so the surface is flat and it'll seal with the heads. Hopefully it works. Hopefully I can save this block, because then instead of instead of doing the 454 back in there in the S10, we will have a 502. And this 502 in particular had really nice pistons in it. It has some JE, and you can't really see in there. It says JE, and they're forged piston. They're a really nice deal. So we'll just take the aluminum heads right there, and that big old sloppy solid roller camshaft, and that tiny carburetor with them baby nitro solenoids on it, and we'll just put it all on here. We had went out and took the S10 to the track, and we knew something was wrong. First off, the big nitrous kit, we could never get it to come on, so we have fixed that. The problem with it was when you'd go full throttle in the truck, it wouldn't hit the micro switch. And on top of that, it was set up wrong in the nitrous controller to work off of a TPS instead of a wide open throttle switch. So I think we got all that resolved and fixed up. So if I can fix this engine, that'll go in there. If not, we're going to take that nice crank and put it in a one-piece block I have in the basement, and I'm going to order some pistons and rods, and then we'll take the rods off those pistons off the 502 because the rods are all good, and we'll put them in that 454. And then this is another 454 I got that the hydraulic roller cam out of the 502 is going to fix up. So that one will be back together in some form or fashion. And then these are the heads that came on the 502. Big oval port 088s, which those will probably end up going on that engine because I'm pretty sure that heads that came with that engine are cracked. And that engine's nothing special. It just had stock rods, hypertectic pistons. It's a 30 over deal, 2-bolt main, big block. It's nothing special. But I'm hoping I could fix this. And after I'm done welding it and stuff, I'm going to try to do it tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to put all that on the channel. That way, you guys can see if I could fix it or not. And I'm going to see if I could fix it or not. I've welded on cast iron before with a MIG welder, and it lived for a really long time. I'm not going to be using the MIG welder here. I'm going to try the TIG. I think I need some high nickel stainless rod, I think is what I need. I'm not sure. But if you know what I need and how to weld this, leave a comment in the comment section, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just giving it a try. But we'll see if we could fix it, and we'll see if I have a 502 instead of a 454. But that's it for the night. You guys like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. I'd like to know what you guys think, and have a good one.